Hello everyone, I'm Roopa and today I'm going to present you our project helping international students to choose universities in USA on behalf of Team 7. This project is from Santa Clara University for course Dashboard Scorecard and Visualization under Professor Michael Sherman. Let's get started with the introduction of what our project is about and what problem we are going to solve. To lead a happy life and enjoy good things, we certainly need good education. A great job, a good social reputation are few of the many benefits of being an educated person. As an international student, we all struggle to select, shortlist, and finalize the universities which matches our requirements. Every student has a different set of parameters and criteria to select universities. For some students, fees might be the deciding factor, and for others, the ranking of the university might be the criteria. At the same time, students also want to apply to limited universities only, as applying for schools incurs a cost of application fee, which can be overwhelming for a student considering the exchange rates between the currency. Hence, we decided to create an informative dashboard that helps the student to compare the universities for graduate and undergraduate education with almost 20 different factors such as location, GRE scores, SAT scores, estimated enrollments, tuition fees, admissions, living expenses, job opportunities, annual mean wages, etc. The visualization and analysis will help international students to choose schools for graduate and undergraduate studies as per their requirements. This analysis and story have been prepared using Tableau desktop software. Now, let us start with our analysis. This first dashboard basically shows the top home countries of the international students. The countries have been categorized into top 10 or in the range of top 10 to 20 and so on. And we can see that the yellow color are the ones where most international students of the USA comes from. So China is the country which holds the first spot of international students by having around 328,000 number of students in USA, and from India we have around 165,000 number of students in USA for studies. Now let's move towards the next dashboard. The purpose of this particular dashboard is to tell students which states of USA are the hot favorite destinations amongst the international students. It can be seen that the top 3 destinations are California, New York, and Texas. So what is the use of these two dashboards? How this will help the international students? Usually, when students plan to visit US for higher studies, it is important for the student to get a homely feeling. Many students might be traveling for the first time out of their own country. It is extremely important for students to feel secure and know which states have maximum intake of international students. Obviously, only intake of international students is not enough in order to decide the location to pursue education. Students also look upon the other factors like employment opportunities and annual mean wages for the particular majors offered in that particular state to get the advantage of location for starting their career with. Now, in order to get the clear picture of how helpful our analysis is, let us consider one example. For example, there is a student named Alice, and she is looking to pursue masters as a graduate student in United States. Her GRE score is 330 out of 340, and she can afford a fees up to 55,000, and she wants to pursue her masters in computer science, and she's looking for some public universities. So in this dashboard particularly, she can maintain all the filters of having the majors in computer science. This analysis we have prepared for the engineering students who wants to pursue engineering in undergraduate and graduate, and these all majors in information students can get. So here she can give the tuition fees as she can afford up to 55,000. So she can just give 55,000. She is looking for just public universities, and her GRE score is 330. So maybe just I'll give the range from 329 to 336. Okay, here it is. Now 4 universities have been shortlisted as per Alice criteria. Now Alice can see that 2 universities are from California and the other 2 universities are from other 2 states. Now Alice have to decide upon the location of what location she can prefer in order to pursue her masters. So this dashboard will help her in order to decide the location. And here, since she wants to pursue computer science, she can just give computer science, and she can see here that California is the best state in terms of annual wages and employment for computer science. On further research, she can also find out that Silicon Valley is the hottest spot for software developers and startups. Hence, she can focus on California universities. So now let's say she wants to get into the details of all individual universities and all the information. So here what she can do is she can just select the university name. For example, let's say she's looking over the information of University of California, Santa Barbara, since this was the university which was shortlisted in the previous dashboard, which we have seen recently. So here she can see that the ranking of this university, the GRE score which they accept, the average GRE score basically, the tuition fees, living cost of the state, the acceptance rate, the percent yield, it's 37%, and the other information like what are the starting salaries for the students graduating from this particular university in all the majors, and what is the payback period. And this enrollment statistics of university, this can help the students to get an idea of what are the chances of getting into this university. Like this can help the students to know the acceptance rate and the percent yield of this particular university. Now let's say that since we have shortlisted 4 universities for Alice, but she is confused between any of the two universities, or whether to apply to this or whether to apply to that. So in that case, what she can do is she can compare the universities over here. In this particular dashboard, we have maintained the important factors which universities can be compared for. So here we can see that the tuition fees for University of California, Santa Barbara is $46,921, whereas for UCB it is $35,130, which is less as compared to the first university. And also the living cost for both the universities is almost same. This can be because the living cost of California itself is very high, and the living cost does not depend upon the university or the tuition fees. It depends upon the states in United States particularly. And while looking over the payback period, we can see that the computer science payback period in months is 9 months, whereas for University of California, Berkeley, here it is around 6 months. So while calculating the payback period, we have considered the tuition fees alone, along with the salaries which students might be getting after graduating. So we have not considered the living cost while calculating the payback period, because living cost is something which actually differs from a person to person, and it is very subjective. And tuition fees is something which will be same for all the students. Tuition fees will not differ, and living cost is something which can differ from students to students. Hence we considered only the tuition fees while calculating the payback period in months. And here also student can compare between the starting salary which they might get after graduating. For UC Santa Barbara it is $66,800, whereas for UCB, University of California Berkeley, it is $75,400. So this gives the student a clear picture of, okay, the University of California Berkeley is better than the Santa Barbara. Or it if the student, if Alice is thinking to apply to only one of the universities, then she can think of applying to University of California Berkeley. Or in case if Alice applies to both the universities and she gets the admits from both of the universities, and she have to enroll into any one, and she have to make the decision of which university she should enroll into, at that particular time also she can just come over this dashboard and compare these different statistics, and then make her decision on which university to enroll into. So this is how it was helpful for Alice to shortlist the universities, and then to decide the location, and then to compare between the universities for her graduate studies. Now let us consider an example for undergraduate student. This is Bob, and Bob is looking for his undergraduate studies in chemical engineering side, and he can afford a fees of like around 32,000 US dollars, and he is looking for the state in which the living cost will be up to not more than like $40,000, and his scores in SAT reading, writing, and math is 500, 500, and 550 respectively. So this is the dashboard. Here I have already filtered out. So since he is looking for chemical engineering and the tuition fees should not exceed 32,000, the living cost should not exceed maybe 40,000 for him. And he can filter it out based on like public, private. And here we have maintained 3 different parameters for SAT scores. SAT scores are generally categorized into three different parameters: reading, writing, and math. And while giving the admits, university considers all the three scores. So students will just enter their scores here, and based on student score, on the back end using a calculated field, we analyzed these scores of the students with the university accepted one, and we are here giving only the shortlisted universities which falls under the range of the score which a particular student have entered, and the chances of getting into this universities are higher with this scores and with these all criterias. Now let's say that since all the universities varies and are in different locations, and Bob wants to look over the location of what location is better for chemical engineering, then what Bob can do is Bob can just go over the location dashboard, and he can just look over chemical majors. Okay, so here you can see that Texas is the state with the most employment opportunities in chemical engineering and with the higher annual wages as compared to all the other states, followed by California and Louisiana. And since there are few universities in Texas, Louisiana, and California, Texas and Louisiana, then Bob can actually consider the universities to consider these universities to apply for. Here Bob can look over the details of a particular university. So he just will have to give the name over here, and he'll be able to see the ranking of the university, total fees, total living cost, and SAT scores. Let me explain you how the SAT scores are. Since I've already told you that SAT scores are categorized into reading, math, and writing, universities generally have the information that 25 percentile of students from this university have the scores are in the range of 450 in reading, whereas 75 percentile of number of students in this university have the scores in the range of 590 for reading. Same goes for math and writing. These admit detail scores will again help students to look over the chances of getting into this particular university. They can also check for the acceptance rate. The university with higher acceptance rate will have there may be higher chances of getting into that particular university with the higher acceptance rate. Again, here they can look over the starting salaries for different majors. So Bob will look over the chemical engineers will get around 70,000 US dollars once they complete their undergraduate studies from Louisiana Tech Universities, and the payback period is of 5 months. Also, for undergraduate students can look over the diversity in the campus. They can look of what number of people are white, what number of people are Asians, American Indians. This will give an idea to the students of what experience they'll have in terms of diversity in the university campus basically. Now again, let's say again Bob have shortlisted few of the universities and he wants to compare then he can compare these two universities. Here we have selected University of South Florida and University of Houston for Bob. So here Bob can look over the ranking. If we can see that the fees of University of South Florida is less as compared to the fees of University of Houston, and also the payback period is less. But we can see here that the starting salary is $75,000 for a chemical engineers for the student from University of South Florida, whereas for University of Houston it is $84,000, around $85,000. So this is obvious because University of Houston is in Texas, and we have already seen that in Texas the employment opportunities are more, plus the annual wages are also more. So University of Houston will obviously have the higher salary. Students might get the higher and starting salary. So if Bob wants to decide between two, then maybe I would suggest him to go over University of Houston because of the location factor. Though the fees is higher, but it's just a difference of $4,000. But the location quotient will actually give the better opportunities in chemical engineering in Texas as compared to the opportunities in Florida. Now, if undergraduate students can also compare the growth rate of fees over the years, this is also an important factor because only the tuition fees should not be considered. We should also see over the growth rate of how is the increase in the fees over the all 4 years, so that we can adjust our monetary criteria. So here we can see that in University of South Florida, in first year the fees growth is of $602, and after first year the growth in fees in University of Houston is just $171. So these actually will give an idea of how the growth rate is, and what can be the by what amount the fees increases in all the universities, which will help students to plan their monetary terms. So this is how our complete analysis will help international students to choose the universities for either graduate or undergraduate engineering degree in order to pursue graduate in engineering degrees. And it will help them to compare the universities and to look over the additional details of all the universities just in one go. Thank you so much for watching our video. Please let us know your feedback. Thank you so much.